Thursday, February 16. Please rise and salute the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Emergency exits are to my right, behind the town attorney, and also the door you came in. Roll, please.
Councilwoman Samaji? Here. Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Crody?
Yeah,
And let
here.
the record reflect that both Councilmen Gutierrez and Morris are out of town.
Okay, make a motion to open the public hearing for appointed assessor local law. Is there a second?
Oh, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Okay, is there any public comment on the appointed assessor local law? No? In that case, I make a motion to close the public hearing for appointed assessor local law.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? What time is it? 7:04.
Did you want to talk about the speaker?
Maria Grace will not be here tonight. She is not well, so she will be coming probably to our next town board meeting. And she will be talking about our grant award for the watershed management plan for the region.
Is there any public comment? Supervisors report. Wassaic Trail to the Train update. MTA has been provided with a survey, site map, and construction map by WSP as the town of Amenia is applying for the required MTA entry permit. MTA has waived the $1,250 fee. However, the town will have to pay the estimated cost of $49,000 force account costs to cover flagging or watchmen and other charges there in accordance with Articles 3 and 7, Railroad Support Personnel and Payment of the Agreement. Town of Amenia Highway Garage update. The surveys for both parcels are complete and have been emailed to the town. I have emailed them to the OPWDD Director of Real Estate and the DEC to find out the next steps and ask the procedure to follow for the town to conduct a Phase 1 environmental review before an abstract of title and contracts be drawn up. Old Amenia landfill update. We are still waiting for the certified copy from the Dutchess County Clerk's recording that the environmental easement has been filed. Environmental attorney Kimberly Ray has requested a certification of completion from the New York State DEC and that the site be delisted from the state Superfund registry. Town clerk report.
Good evening. The minutes for December 14th, January 5th, January 18th, and February 1st have all been circulated to the town board. Tax payments are continuing. We are at 45% collected, over $2.2 million. We have a remaining 1,112 parcels left of the excess of 1,900 that we're collecting, so tax payments are progressing quite well. The town has been satisfied in the special districts, including now highway, and the first partial payment for the town supervisor and the general fund has been made in half, and on Tuesday I'm still at Association Towns. On Wednesday, Nancy and I will sign off the remaining balance and the town will be paid in whole, and we'll be collecting for the remaining $2.4 million share that goes out to the county. So I'd like to remind everyone, tax payments are receivable here in the Amenia Town Clerk's office without penalty, and we do accept the postmark up until February 28th. I received a request from a park ranger from the Everglades National Park by a woman by the name of Claire, who has, and I circulated the request as well as the insurance. There are 14 cyclists that are coming through the area this summer. They're traveling from Florida to Maine. It's a not-for-profit bike for the U.S. They're raising money for MS. And they inquired if they could use our park. Now, like Beekman Park, the Town Hall Park, what we were looking for. There are 14 cyclists, and they're looking for the one-night stay on May 18th. They're just really looking for a place to pitch their tents. This is a new request that I've never, I personally haven't been asked. I mean, I know we already know there's no overnights, but with the cause, I did go online, I looked up the website, it all appears to be completely legit, and they did provide the certificate of liability insurance. So I don't know if this is something that the town at this time would even entertain, or if you would.
Well, I'll leave it to Scott to see what.
I'll certainly look into it. I mean, it's the town park, you have town rules, but you potentially could suspend those rules. I don't know if you have a normal application process for the use of the park. I'm sure the
We
rec
don't,
director-
because
no?
no, and we don't have a rec director. Currently, what happens is the park is strictly used for the town events. If I wanted to have a birthday party, it'd be more or less a first come, first serve. You would,
But
kids
this
could go
is someone
show up.
outside, and they do, there is restroom
We do
facilities
have a
there.
restroom area, and there is a pavilion where if, should it be inclement weather and they didn't want to be stuck out in the rain, they could tent under.
Okay. Let me look at it and I'll
Yeah, no, it was
respond,
just
okay?
something
Sure.
completely new that we've never been asked before, so I thought I'd throw that out there.
Okay.
Vouchers have been reviewed by the town clerk's office. General Fund A in the amount of $126,797.45. Highway Fund, $28,417.32. Amenia Lighting, $1,836.60. Wasake Lighting, $634. Amenia Water, $11,760.32. Capital improvement for the generator, $5,200 for a total of $174,645.69.
I'll make a motion that we approve the payment of those vouchers.
I second.
Councilwoman Samaji?
Yes.
Yeah, oh, yes.
Yes, no, maybe yes.
No?
Yes.
Councilwoman- I have to do roll call, there's money.
Oh, okay. Oh, money, that's right, it's money.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Brody?
Yes.
And then just our last final reminder that next Thursday, February 22nd, is our 5th annual blood drive here at the Amenia Town Hall. And that will conclude my report for this evening. Thank you.
Breakfast?
This weekend at the, throw
Can't
another
forget
hat
breakfast.
on. So at the Amenia Firehouse, we're going to be having our monthly breakfast. Come join us. Begins at 7:30 a.m., goes to 11 a.m. We have some delicious pancakes, French toast, eggs any style, bacon sausage, hash browns, potatoes, wheat, rye, white toast. Anybody hungry? Yeah, good. Come on out. See us on Sunday morning.
And how much per person? It's
Don't do
$12?
No, it's
Seven.
$7.
$7? Wow.
It's all you can eat.
Okay.
You enjoy those eggs upside down, you can come back and get scrambled.
Do you want a motion for your minutes?
Yeah, if you guys are ready.
Okay, so I wasn't at the January 5th meeting, but I will make a motion that we approve the minutes of January 18th, 2018.
Okay.
Anybody want a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll make a motion that we approve the February 1st, 2018 minutes.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So the December 14th and January 5th, we just have to wait until next month.
Oh, I was here for December 14th. I'll make
Okay.
a motion that we approve the December 14th, 2017 minutes.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So we're going to hold reorg until the two
Right,
gentlemen
I
are.
wasn't there for that. We don't have a quorum for the
Oh,
vote on the reorg minutes.
Did you have the opportunity to watch it on YouTube?
I didn't watch
Oh.
it,
Well, I was just gonna say, if you,
but it looks right. I mean, we had the agenda
because you don't have to
beforehand.
be there. It was
Yeah.
just a matter of, if there
Watching
was a-
it.
if
Yeah,
there was
we can
anything-
do it at the next
We can
meeting.
wait.
Yeah.
It's just, we've already put everybody's salaries in, they're getting paid, they're not gonna go away. So I'll carry that to the next meeting. Great. Thank you.
And is that the end of your report?
That is the end of my report.
Okay, just checking. Highway Department report. The weather has been keeping us busy between the snow and then warming up temperatures to rain and then icy conditions. We have had to remove some unusual ice buildup a couple of times on the dirt roads with the grader, and again in the last 2 days. No major breakdowns, and everything seems to be going good. From Megan Chamberlain, Highway Superintendent. Are there any committee reports?
should I say anything about the seniors and stuff here, or do I wait to the end?
No, you can do it now.
Oh, okay, good. I just want to, the Amenia, let all you seniors know, the Amenia senior trips are already planned. We have 4 of them going, and you will be getting, those of you who've traveled with us before, I have your addresses, and I will send you the list of the trips. First one is going to be to the Lobster Fest on Thursday, June 14th. It's up at the Log Cabin, and a Dixieland band will be playing there. So that'll be the first one that'll be going out. And you'll get that flyer in the mail with all of the Amenia Senior Bus trips and activities and events that are going to take place for us. There's going to be our annual Easter egg hunt on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. It's at 10 a.m. It's here at the Town Hall. Please bring your children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, whoever you like, and have a good time. And the Easter Bunny will be here, and you can take photos of your children with the Easter Bunny. And we also would like to have some volunteers to come, some young people to come and hide the eggs for us and help us set up a few things, and even some older folks, if you'd like. Just give us a call and say you'd like to come down, you'd like to help with this event. We get a really large, I was amazed how many people come out with all these children for this event, but it's really a very large thing that's coming out. So those are the two main things that I have for that.
I'd like to piggyback off of recreation for you, Michelle.
Sure.
Christine Ford wasn't able to make it here tonight, but we did send an ad to the paper, which didn't make it either, so I'd like to make the big announcement.
Yes.
We are thinking spring. Baseball is right around the corner.
Yes.
Town of Amenia Baseball, including T-ball, Farm League, Softball, Little League signups are going to be held at the Amenia Town Hall in the front lobby this Saturday, February 17th, and then next Saturday, February 24th, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Opening day of baseball is going to be April 21st. So that's coming up this weekend. Christine's doing the signups.
The opening day.
The opening day
Is April, you said April 21st?
April 21st.
Well, kind of like to go into that. I got an email from the Renegades baseball team, baseball place, where the baseballers play. Obviously, I'm a big baseball fan because I just know about baseball. And what he said to me was an email saying that he would like to make contact with all the Little League baseball teams in the area and see if, and he sent me their list, and so we can contact maybe the coaches and stuff, and we can make copies of it. And
Definitely, if you're around on Saturday, if you want to leave it, I've made all her copies for the signups this weekend. If you can't be here, give it to me and I'll give it to her.
Sure.
And then just touch base with her and talk to her, because then she can then circulate it to the coaches accordingly.
okay, that's great. What time is she going to be here, Seth?
She's going to be here, signups are from 10 till 1,
Oh, perfect for me.
this Saturday.
10, that's perfect, because
Good.
10 to 1.
Oh, that'd be nice if you could work out something.
That's good, and I'll give her even the number of the fellow who contacted me, so I don't have to be the middleman.
Great.
And we can do that, because I know even seniors have asked they want to go on the baseball trip, so. Okay,
It's a fun thing, Michelle.
it's a fun thing, and I think I've told you all the fun things I have.
Are there any other committee reports? No? Approval of engineer for SAM grant window project. Just to recap on the SAM grant, those $50,000 in funds were secured by Senator Serino for the town of Amenia. And what we have decided to do with them is to replace all the windows on the ground floor, since we've already put in a new heating system in order to make the building more energy efficient. We have 3 bids for the windows. One is from Crawford and Associates Engineering, PC, for $7,000. Morris Associates Engineering and Surveying Consultants, $8,100. And Ty and Bond Engineers, Environmental Specialists, $18,500.
Can I ask questions now? Or do I have
Sure.
to- Oh, okay. I think I read on one of their things is that they were saying that their bid did not include, I don't know which one it was, but it did not.
Crawford.
Crawford did not include something else, so that's why it was low, and then they had the second one, or something I was reading.
No, the only thing they said they didn't include is working with the, if fee does not include coordination with the dormitory authority or any other agency in the administration of the grant, or design alternatives. In other words, when it goes out to bid, they'll make sure that, everybody, the bid will be the same for everyone.
Okay.
So they're concentrating on doing the bid manual preparation for the windows.
Oh, okay.
We've had a couple of window people come in here. That information was given to all the engineers so that we had an idea of, what we were going to ask for. Basically, we're looking for energy efficient windows, double pane, with argon, and that's what, they're aware of. So basically, they're saying they're not going to be looking, they're not going to be investigating other types of windows.
Oh, okay, so it's whatever we propose or whatever it is,
Well, the bids will be for energy efficient windows.
and whatever those windows that we choose as, as we
From all the
bids.
Yeah,
we
when the
choose-
bids come in, we'll have to look at the
we'll look at
bids.
bids and choose that, and then they'll just do their job, and they won't investigate anything else.
No.
Oh, okay. All right. I understand now.
So the low bid, as far as I can see, is the Crawford and Associates for $7,000.
Yes.
So I believe, all things being equal, that's who we should go with. I'll make a motion that we hire Crawford and Associates Engineering at $7,000 to do the engineering for the window replacement and ADA improvement projects.
We're not voting on the ADA yet.
Oh,
The
okay,
window.
just the window replacement
Yeah.
part of that project.
I'll second that.
Councilwoman Smaji?
Yes.
Councilman Doyle? And
Yes.
Supervisor Brody?
Yes. And then we need approval of engineer for the CDBG grant handicap accessibility project. And that particular, the town of Amenia was awarded a $93,500 grant to make handicap accessibility improvements to the town hall, mainly focusing on the bathrooms and also right in back of, outside the town meeting room, there's a ramp that isn't handicap accessible, so to make improvements with that. And we have 3 bids. Crawford and Associates Engineering is $11,000, Morris Associates is $12,500, and Ty and Bond is $24,000.
So again, Crawford and Associates is the best bid that I see for $11,000. So I'd make a motion that we approve Crawford and Associates Engineering for $11,000 for the ADA improvements project.
I'll second it.
Councilwoman Samardzija?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes. Okay, and now we have the resolution for the appointed assessor local law. Resolution
Number 9.
number 9. Adopting local law, that would be local law number 1 though, right? Okay. Adopting local law number 1 of 2018 entitled "A Local Law Providing for the Appointment of a Single Appointed Assessor Pursuant to Article 3 of the Real Property Tax Law." Whereas resolution number 7 was duly adopted by the town board by the town of Amenia on February 1st, 2018, introducing local law number 1 of 2018 entitled "A Local Law Providing for the Appointment of a Single Appointed Assessor Pursuant to Article 3 of the Real Property Tax Law," and a public hearing was scheduled to be held by the town board at Town Hall, 4988 Route 22, Amenia, New York, at 7 p.m. on February 15, 2018, to hear all interested parties on a said proposed local law number 1 of 2018. Whereas notice of said public hearing was duly advertised in the Millerton News on February 8, 2018, and the Poughkeepsie Journal on February 6, 2018, and published on the town clerk's signboard on February 2, 2018, and the Town of Amenia website on February 2, 2018. Whereas the purpose of this proposed local law is to abolish the position of single elected assessor and to provide for the appointment of a single appointed assessor pursuant to Section 328 of Article 3 of the Real Property Tax Law of the State of New York. Whereas said local law has been on the desks of the members of the Town Hall of the Town of Amenia for at least 7 days, exclusive of Sunday, prior to the adoption of this resolution, now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to Part 617 of the implementing regulations pertaining to Article 8, State Environmental Quality Review Act, it is determined by the town board that adoption of said proposed local law does not constitute an action as defined in that adoption of said local law. And said local law will not affect the environment, therefore, said local law may be considered without further regard to seeker, and be it resolved that the town board hereby adopts said local law number 1, 2018, entitled "A Local Law Providing for the Appointment of a Single Appointed Assessor Pursuant to Article 3 of the Real Property Tax Law," a copy of which is attached hereto and made part of this resolution, and be it further resolved that the town clerk is directed to enter said local law in the minutes of this meeting and to file said local law with the New York Secretary of State. Can I make that motion?
I second it.
Councilwoman Samardzija?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes. Should I read the local law?
Don't need to.
Okay.
Can I just talk about the next steps, though?
Yes.
So you've adopted a local law. By its terms, it will eliminate the position of elected assessor effective on April 5th, 2018, which coincides with the appointment of the acting assessor also on April 5th, 2018. You will be able to make an appointment to fill this position of sole appointed assessor at any time up until that time or afterwards. It was designed so that you'll be able to appoint someone prior to that time to take effect on April 6th. So what we're going to do is, once the local law is filed, and we get confirmation of its filing, at the next meeting following that, we will make an appointment to the position effective on April 6th of this year. Once we make an appointment to that position, we will also introduce a local law, in all likelihood, to change the date of grievance day, which we're authorized to do by state law. If we appoint the incumbent acting assessor to that position, he has prior commitments. And when towns share assessors, you're allowed to adopt a local law to have one town move their grievance day from Tuesday to any time later in that week, Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. So we will be introducing a local law, whether it's going to be the current acting assessor or anyone else. If they already have an obligation in another town, the odds are they've already got Tuesday, covered. So we don't want to do that until we actually make the appointment. So in theory, if this is filed before the next board meeting, we will be able to make an appointment to the new position effective April 6th, and at the same time introduce a local law for the subsequent meeting to change the date of grievance day. All right? Okay.
Okay, Water Department sanitary report recommendations. Marco?
Start off talking about the report a little bit, and then have Sean go over some things that we discussed. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold still. On December 19th, the Health Department went through, we discussed this at our last month's meeting, went through and did a sanitary survey. It's done once every 2 years on the water supply. A couple things that we discussed at the last meeting, and it continues into this report, is working on the distribution system on the low pressure situations that we have. And basically the elevations that we have that are higher around the water tank, those residents have booster pumps in their house. Something we need to consider is how are we going to solve that problem. So, in bringing up to today's codes. So no violations currently in our water system. Some things that we need to worry about and work on. They went, they checked everything, make sure that we were doing our backflow prevention cross-connection program, which we are. At that date of the inspection, we had 14 of the 16 done. Shortly after that, the last two inspections came in, so we were 100% for the year. So those are all complete. The map of the distribution system that we put together for the town last year, the Health Department liked that, and also liked the recommendations that we made for improvements on the system, where we make improvements. Those have been identified on that map that was done last year.
What do we need to do to develop a plan to improve the pressure and flow conditions in the distribution system? Because that's one of their actions they recommend.
That's one of their actions. That's what we discussed before, right? So we discussed that as we have undersized pipes and we have booster pumps in people's houses. We have a storage tank that's not big enough, not tall enough. So those are things that we need to correct.
How?
So we have a couple ways of doing it. I'd like to have Sean
Sure.
talk about it a little bit here. A couple of ways we can just work with this.
Okay. Sean Morgan, SCBI Environmental. So basically, you really have a system that was built prior to the regulations. Pressure-wise, the regulations are required are 20 psi at all times, and a minimum of 35 psi under normal operating conditions. The height of the existing water tank only gives you 18 psi. So there's no way to have a gravity feed system achieve 20 psi with the existing height of the tank. So what you would be required to do is either increase the height of the tank to a point where you can create the pressure or reconfigure the piping and some of the controls and put a booster pumping system in. What we would like to look at is go.
Where would the booster pump system go?
You can put it right next to the water tower.
Okay.
So we would have to have a valve in line to close off the tank, because right now the tank has an overflow. So if you don't have an inline valve to close it, to achieve the pressure you need to have in the system, it would just overflow the tank. So you'd have to put an inline solenoid valve, automated control valve, to shut down the pressure from the pumps. And then use another pump in that tank to supply back to the neighborhoods. So there'd be reconfiguration there. You'd have to go through, once you start pressurizing the upper area, of course that pressure is going to go down to the lower area. So you have to look into creating too high of a pressure in the lower lying areas. Besides just the straight gravity issues that you have with the lacking height in the tank and the elevation of the houses, is your distribution network. The current 10 state regulations for new design, which is 10 states came through, put together regulations on treatment, distribution, every aspect of the water network. And that's where the pressures comes from. But also, they indicate all your water mains should be 3 inches for non-fire suppression water supply system. 6 inches if you're actually using the water supply for fire suppression. We don't achieve that 3 inches throughout the whole entire system. You have certain areas where you have 3/4 inch pipe, you have 1 inch pipe, 1.5 inch pipe, 2 inch pipe. The codes allow you to go below 3 inches if you do a hydraulic analysis and only in special conditions. Since you have an existing system in place, areas where you do have a 2 inch pipe, I wouldn't expect a big pushback from the Department of Health on maintaining an existing grandfathered in system. Where we do run into problems, or expect to run into problems, is areas where you have, they just add on to the system. So you have a 2 inch pipe coming through, you're gonna add one more house, they added, a length of 100 foot, 1 inch pipe. Next house, add another 100 foot, 1 inch pipe. So it's been adding on small diameter pipes without a look into the future on what you would have to do. And that's where the regulations allow you. You have to look at your flow conditions now and your anticipated flow conditions. So are you planning to build 5 houses in the direction, 10 houses in the direction? So if you plan to expand in a certain direction, you can't use just the existing water flow. So we went through the whole entire map. We indicated where we saw long lengths of pipe that were under 2 inches. The 2 inch pipe, I think when we do the hydraulic analysis, we should be fine with those because we're not seeing extended lengths of 2 inch pipe. So your head loss is your flow rate and the length of the pipe. The smaller the pipe and the longer it goes, the more head loss you have, the more likely you're going to run into pressure issues. So what we did was overlay the USGS topo map over our existing system map. We were looking at an area where 70 feet of elevation change, which would be roughly close to the 35 PSI, which is supposed to be your minimum pressure. We've outlined that on a map on where we expect to find issues strictly related to elevation. Also on that map, we've gone through and highlighted areas where we see smaller diameter pumps or pipes and where it's hitting multiple units, or appears to be. So our next step is go through, look at the lot and block numbers, try to get an idea of what kind of flow is actually going through those pipes, what they're serving, and determine whether you're going to run into an issue. Areas where we have the high elevations, we're going to have to look to see if they do have booster pumps. So that's putting together a master list of every site we expect to see a booster pump in there, go do an inspection. The booster pumps run into a lot of different issues. They're not allowed in any new design. But also, you need to have backflow protection, which some of those do not have. So although that hasn't been pointed out in the inspection, that could run into issues later. So you're going through, you're pressurizing a house, you pressurize it at 35 PSI. If you have no check valve, when that pump shuts back off, that water flows back into the system.
So basically, you're saying that the booster pumps currently in place are outdated and don't meet any code there would be for this? Is that what you're saying?
The current codes would not allow this, not at all.
So I think what they're saying, develop a plan to improve the pressure and flow, is to see what we need to do to remove the need for the individual booster pumps in the homes. Is that correct?
Yes. So really what we need to do is identify pressures throughout the system. So to address pressure issues in the system, we have to look at where we'd expect to go through and find the pressure issues. So up by the water tower, that's going to be a much simpler fix. You can go through, it's going to be more uniform and extend from the water tower out until it starts dropping in elevation. And that natural gravity would add to the head and not cause...
And that'll fix the problem?
No, that's going to limit your problem.
Okay, so there's
once you start going down the
less.
valley, you're down lower, the water's higher than you, you're seeing a higher pressure.
Right.
So as you're dropping in elevation, you're not going to have a head issue due to strict elevation.
Mm-hmm.
Once we get down in the lower elevations, the problems where you find the pressure issues is higher flows to smaller diameter pumps. So there may be booster pumps in those other houses where they've added on, this piping that isn't the 3-inch. If you had 3 inches, you wouldn't have issues.
How many booster pumps, how many homes have booster pumps, do we know?
We do not know.
We have approximately 30 homes.
30?
So by solving one problem, we're going to create it. Another one's going to be created. So we have to do a delicate balance between the two. We're increasing pressure to eliminate those booster pumps, and also balance the pressure down to low, as Sean said, down to lower elevation, so we don't have water hammering going on. And also, the water mains are down. Some of the lower elevations are aged, such as Main Street and that area there, and some on 22. I don't think we're able to handle those pressures, so we're going to have to figure out how the age of those pipes. We know the materials they're made of, so we need to, again, balance the situation and figure out which is the best solution.
So it sounds like the pipes need to be addressed first.
It's a combination of what solution we want to go with, so we can go with another solution where if we redid the distribution system up top and made strictly a booster pump change on top where it fed just the houses at the higher elevations, then you have to just replace that part of the distribution system and have a booster pump. If you went with a booster pump for the whole elevation, then yeah, a lot more pipes are going to have to be replaced. Or the third solution would be a different type of water tank. Well, we don't really want to add on that one. You want to replace that one. So the cost of those, we're going to have to figure out all three costs and then present them to you and figure out which is the best solution you'd like to go for.
Okay.
At that point, that's where we maybe want to be able to apply for grants. So there's three solutions, that we could come up with, and all three solutions are going to be based on cost and grant funding.
And it's
Well, the sooner you can do that, the better, because there are grants coming up now.
And supposedly more grants for infrastructure will be coming out soon here too. They're supposed to be announced next couple months here. Next month, I think it is.
Yeah, next month.
So.
And it's, there's going to be like $1 billion available for water infrastructure.
Right,
So we want to take advantage of that as we can.
Right, so we can work on those three possible solutions, or give you their suggestion of the best possible solution for it.
Okay.
Again, it's not as simple as one solution, because fixing one problem is going to create problems in other.
Yeah, it's not as simple as putting a pump on top, because once you put a pump on top, you pressurize that.
Well, I think what we should aim for now is whichever solution will correct most of the problem. If not, we're not going to find something, we have this balance to correct all of it, but what can we do that would be the best first step to addressing these problems?
Well, you really have two issues in two different regions of the town. So up by the water tower, you have the elevation issue. What you're going to use to address that issue is either tank elevation or a pumping system. Since that elevation is I think 140 feet below the bottom town elevation, you can't simply just pressurize all the piping because you're going to have too much pressure down in the village area.
Unless we split that part of the distribution system off and have it separate.
Or pressure reduction wells.
Right.
The other aspect is the small diameter pipes, which is actually the other side of the valley going up the hill. So that would be by the...
It's all this section in here. It's, again, Main Street, Route 22, coming down Depot Hill and such, coming into Main
So
Street.
what you would use to address the higher elevations, you can't expect that pressure to be added down into the valley, back up the hill to achieve that pressure without creating issues down below.
Okay, so you're going to look at all the alternatives and present them to us?
Yes.
By next month, we'll give you 3 options to work with.
Okay.
Okay?
And what is calculate chlorine contact time?
Contact time for the chlorine is a simple calculation. All we have to do is figure out the pipe length and diameter of the entry points where we inject chlorine in. There's nothing on record stating what that contact time is that the health department wants, so it's a simple calculation we can just...
We're going to get that to the county next week.
Okay, so that's something you can address also?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
these issues we can address.
Yeah, I'd like to see what that is, if you could send that to us
All right.
and let us know how you're going to address that.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is the county health department going to review the 3 options that you come up
Well,
with?
They wouldn't review the 3 options. They would review...
The option that we would...
we would select.
I see, okay.
So once you go through and select it, that's when the new 10-state standard comes in. So everything has to be within the new codes. See, the tank was built, I think, in 1975, in 1980, which predates the current reg. So if the town presented what we have now to the county Department of Health, it would be severely rejected. One, you can't have the booster pumps in the house. 2, every booster pump has to have backflow protection. Every booster pump has to have a bypass. You have to have pressure gauges prior to and after. If you do have a booster pump, you can't create a suction head less than 20 psi. Since our water tower is only giving 18 psi.
So those water mains in the street are 18 psi. The booster pumps pump the water pressure above 35 psi, 40 psi in the house. If that check valve releases, the mains have lower pressure, which we have seen. Goes whatever water that got into that house goes right back out to the main. Next customer gets it, or somewhere downstream.
So and this is something you wouldn't be able to transfer to the homeowner even if you wanted to. You're required by law to hit a pressure on your water delivery. So if you said, we're going to give you all these pumps for $1, now it's yours to deal with, you still have to meet that pressure wherever you make that dividing line. So in the past, they've used that pump to achieve that pressure. Since it was prior to the current regulations, they've allowed those to stay.
Well, it looks like they don't want to do that anymore.
No, they don't definitely want to. So you're seeing, different issues with backflow protections. And we see this through the whole entire environmental law. Is you only need a couple of cases before it comes to the forefront and becomes the focus of enforcement. So now they're kind of pointing out, by the way, you've had this for a while, you're not hitting this pressure, come out with a plan to correct this. So it's kind of the warning sign that, you need to start moving forward with eliminating these issues.
Before they say, do it now?
Yes.
Well, before they say do it in 30 days, which is usually the standard. But just go back to it, what we're probably looking at is, 3 different options for up above, either a separate piping system and pump from the water tower, reconfiguring the water tower with controls, and a booster pump with either a pressure reduction from the upper elevations to the lower elevations, or going through and changing the water tower, which is probably the most least likely.
Well, not really.
How, that water tower is pretty old.
Yeah.
1980.
Yeah.
It's actually in excellent condition because of the cathodic protection put on it.
Yeah.
That has kept our water tower immaculate. I mean, it's due for another paint job coming up now. Last paint job was 20 years ago.
I thought we did do.
No, we did inspections on it. We haven't done any paint jobs on it. So it's been a while. It's only had 2 paint jobs in its life.
So there's a company that has to do that?
Paint?
Yeah.
Yeah, we would.
It's a special kind
Yeah,
of
right.
paint, I'm sure.
We'd have to write that out to bid. We write the specs up, and somebody like Mickey McEnroe, I think he might have even done it last time. And it's not a special paint, it's an epoxy paint because it's on the outside. The inside is, we're not worried about this time. There's no rust problems on the inside.
What would the cost of that be approximately?
The cost of it, we just went through cost with another tank. You're looking at about between 30 and 50,000
Okay.
Just to paint it.
to paint it.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, because it isn't regular paint.
The
Yeah,
epoxy,
it's a
no,
thick,
it's hard.
it's
Yeah, yeah,
thicker
it's epoxy.
paint.
It's protection is what it
And
is.
it's 20 years, this last time.
Right.
So now a new tank cost, because we've done some quotes on those too, you're looking at 200 to 500,000 for the tank. Okay, and we do obviously have enough room to do it up there. We would have to keep that one in service, put another one in, and all that. So those are some options to do. Again, we want to think about electricity costs. If we put a booster pump in there, then we want to think about how we're going to power that versus a tank that doesn't cost anything but installation, maintenance-wise. The new tanks nowadays have glass-lined interiors. So
Would we be able to use solar up there?
yeah, solar or wind, actually. We'd have to look at the wind map and make sure that that falls in, our area falls into a territory that we can get grant money for it. Solar for sure.
Solar for sure.
Yeah, solar for sure. And I would not mind looking at the solar because that way we could run our pumps and controls and everything there. And we have a generator, so we can truly be green if we really wanted to up there.
Why can't the new one be high enough to continue the elevation?
It could.
as-
Yeah.
It could.
Gravity
We're
fed.
missing by, honestly, I think it was 40 feet. It was 40 feet or 20 feet?
Well, we're at 18 PSI, so you would
20
need,
feet.
6 feet just to hit it.
Right.
You want to be above it on the cycle.
So 20 feet, I think, is what we came up with, which would have been 2 more panels on that tank. So we
That
can't
could
add
solve
2
it, though,
panels to it.
right.
So instead of having a big, tall, ugly one, it would be 20 feet taller. The same type of setup, and that would give us the amount of elevation that we need for proper PSI to maintain it in the system and also eliminate booster pumps out of it.
So that'll be one of the alternatives you give us?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And then you'll get bids for the painting?
The painting and all that too. Just
Because
put
we
us on-
should plan on doing that in the spring.
Yeah, the spring we would have to do it, not in the summer because the tank sweats too much. It would have to be in the spring or the fall to get it painted because that's the least sweating would happen on the tank. The other, we'd like you to put us on the agenda for the end of next month, the last board meeting, and then we're going to present to you.
Okay.
Okay?
If we've gone this long, 20 years with an epoxy paint, why would we spend another $30,000 on a tank we don't know whether or not we'd
That's why I'm
replace?
not going to do
Please
any of
don't
that stuff. No,
do it, yeah.
Not until we come up with a
I mean,
solution.
an estimate would be fine, so that we can factor that into the whole thing.
Absolutely.
But
So 2 things have to happen with this tank right now. One is we had a tank inspection done last year. I would like to get it cleaned on the inside if we keep the tank. I already have bids on that. You're looking at about $13,000 for that. You're looking at between $30,000 and $50,000 for a paint job. So we'll put it all in, cost versus
Right.
replacement versus
Right.
actual. The tank's in excellent shape, but the other thing nice about it with cathodic protection, save that tank, the new tanks have glass lining, and I do not believe that they need cathodic protection on them. So there's an energy savings there too, so we don't have to worry
And a
about
maintenance savings, I would
on
think?
it
Yeah,
that we
so,
pay every year for that, and energy costs.
so you want to factor all of that into our overall
Yeah, absolutely.
amortization costs.
Might be cheaper to replace them.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, we have to do the same thing to another client too. That has the
Are-
same exact situation.
Do you know, do you know different solar companies that you could have, take a look up there?
Actually, we do.
Okay, why don't we do that too?
Okay. Well,
Because we could really do that before we do any of the other, I
So
think,
by next month,
Well,
or make it part
you
of the
gotta
whole
have some
plan.
flexibility. If you're going to go with another water tower,
Yeah. let's
solar, you gotta worry about
Evaluate.
the placement of the water, the panels, but also too shadow. You know, you don't want to go and put a solar panel array up there and then have it on the wrong side of the water tower, or new water tower.
Well, we'd have somebody to look at it to see the best place to put it.
and they also have nowadays the solar panels that are motorized, track the sun. So.
Right, they
up in
follow the
Albany,
sun.
there's a wastewater plant that actually does that, and there's actually tracks the sun. So they use no energy at all. So we'll have that, the next month's meeting will be, an overview of the three options, some costs and everything. And then probably take us another month to fine tune everything, to figure out which direction we want to go in, so we can get us a hard cost on this is the direction we're going in. But we can get you in the ballpark.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Other matters, Resolution 10,
Yes.
transfer of funds for February 2018. Whereas the town board has the authority to transfer funds when necessary unanticipated to amend the budget. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing expense line 40204.01, Registrar of Vital Statistics, PS by $1,700, and by increasing general fund appropriated fund balance account 599 by $1,700 to add this amount to the 2018 budget. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing expense line 80204.01.102, planning-rail trail by $49,000, and by increasing the general fund appropriated fund balance account 599 by $49,000 to add this amount to the 2018 budget for the Trail to the Train MTA entry permit. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing expense line 16204.01.062, building CE maintenance by $22,500, and decreasing expense line 19004.01.049, special item CE contingencies by $22,500 for emergency cupola and other roof repairs. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board authorizes the transfer of necessary budget lines to process these transactions. I make that motion.
Second.
Discussion? None? Okay,
Supervisor Cardy?
yes.
Councilwoman Samaji?
Yes.
And Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
We have received a request from Angels of Light of the Hudson Valley, Lori Casilla Decker. We are writing to acquire permission to utilize Mechanic Street, corner of Monty's Family Dollar, I think she means General Dollar, to the entrance of the rail trail on Sunday, April 15th from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. We're hosting a family event with a 5K walk run and kids fun run on the rail trail, followed by brunch at Monty's. We are expecting approximately 75 people. We've already acquired insurance, we'll be scheduling EMTs, and have permission from County Executive Marcus Molinaro for use of the rail trail. The event is a fundraiser for Children with Cancer UK, sponsored by Angels of Light. Angels of Light is a local 501c3 organization that provides holiday giving for children and families with life-threatening illnesses here in the Hudson Valley. We're hoping this request can go on the agenda for the next board meeting, and here it is. Thank you in advance for your consideration. We look forward to hearing from you soon so we can start promoting our event.
Do they need the Mechanic Street actually closed from 9 to 11:30 for there's a sidewalk there, and I wasn't sure if they would actually need to close the road.
This is the first I'm seeing it. It's also pancake breakfast for
That
Amenia
day?
Fire Company.
You have it on the same day?
It's the third.
Well, it sounds like it's on the rail trail.
It's on the rail trail. They're going to utilize Mechanic Street to the entrance.
Yeah, I think they're just going to use the sidewalk to get to the
Okay.
rail trail.
So they didn't ask for a road closure, so
No.
I don't see any reason why we wouldn't allow them to use it as any other.
Because I originally sent them to Michael Segelton, so he's the one that told them, you know, they had to get the insurance and EMTs and what he needed to do, so.
I'll make a motion that we allow them to utilize Mechanic Street from Monty's to the Family Dollar Store to the entrance of the rail trail on Sunday, April 15th.
It's the
9 to
General Dollar,
11:30. Oh, General.
oh, Dollar General.
Are you saying Mechanic Street or just the sidewalk? Because we can't close the road.
We're not closing the road.
Well, she said Mechanic Street. I
So
Utilize Mechanic Street.
she asked to be on the agenda for the next meeting. So this is dated today. So why don't we try and get those answers and see what Michael has actually recommended, and if a road closure's in effect, we'll prepare a resolution.
not-
But is she coming next week, next meeting?
She's not asking to close the road. She's
I could just
asking
say
to use the
pedestrian
road.
access.
Because there's a sidewalk that goes from Montes all the way up to the rail trail.
And a road crossing.
And there's a
pedestrian
road crossing
crosswalk
there.
Down below.
So they are not asking, because they're saying the walk-run is on the rail trail, followed by a brunt, so they're going to be basically using the sidewalk.
But they've asked to be on the agenda for the next meeting. Are they going to make a presentation to us, or?
No,
this
this
it?
is,
This is it.
That was sent on February 14th, so maybe they meant this meeting, or, they have plenty of time, but we could go ahead and grant them pedestrian access, which they would have.
well, that's
Anyway,
all they're
right.
asking for anyway. Because there's nothing in here that says close a road. The whole 5K walk-run is going to be on the rail trail.
And they walk to the
And then they're just going to
brunch.
walk down from there on the sidewalk.
Unless they're thinking of parking vehicles
No,
when they come, all these people coming in vehicles or something. I don't know. Well, you know, maybe they're thinking they'll use the, where the firehouse is and stuff like that, and Judd's, I think it's called Judge's. or-
Judge Manning's.
I think what we need to do is I'll call her and
Just
tell her that, you know, she's, you know, she can use the sidewalk, but not to count on parking anywhere there. No, you're not parking on Mechanic Street. Because the only place she'd be able to park really on Mechanic is
in the,
Firehouse.
Well, the rail trail itself has parking.
But
I mean, that, they would be, I could
Eight
tell her
parking
she is limited to parking at the rail trail.
it's very limited. And
So I can
343.
call her and do that,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah.
that way we, you know, we
But, you know, they're just
Maybe get
letting
more
us know that
details.
they're doing it, but I'll,
Somebody should
you know,
talk to her.
I'll talk to her.
yeah, just to be certain, because sometimes.
So that we're clear on exactly what she's
Exactly.
asking.
But
It
does
could
it
be
start
cross
at
purposing
I
here.
have
Mechanic
this is
Street, or
the
does it
first one.
start?
No, it says rail trail.
There's the real trail. Yeah, I got that in my box too. I read that too, also. And I said, well, we'll have to bring it up here. So I figured we'd bring it up here to find out for the clarification what she wants to do.
Yeah, I'll call her and just, you know, let her know that, you know, there would be, just be parking on the rail trail or on the street. And I think, I think it's a wonderful thing that they do, and I think we need to support
More
them.
business downtown is more activity downtown.
Well, I just
I
think
agree.
it's a wonderful thing that they do, and I want to support them, and I'll call her and tell her what she needs to do.
Tell them we're very supportive.
Yeah, we just want to be clear. We just want to be clear. We don't want to, have any misunderstandings.
But I know, it sounds like she needs publicity to get out soon if she's going to have this event, so.
Yeah, I'll call her tomorrow.
And we can, and you can, well, you can't make the decision. You have to make the decision.
Well,
Well, you,
I'm not sure why they're asking for permission to utilize Mechanic Street, because it's really open for anybody to use. But I'll call her and get clarification, and so they can go ahead and start advertising this.
right.
And there's a form for highway for a road closure.
Right.
So that way, if that's what they're looking for, she can get everything to them and bring a
Yeah.
full packet back. So we all see more.
Yeah, there's nowhere that it says it just says utilize, but I'll call her and ask, because it's not clear.
Right.
Okay, is there any other matters, public comment?
All I
Could you come to the,
it's very formal being
I just wanted to say thank you guys for everything you're doing. I'm rather new to the area. I've only been here 1 year, so this is my second town meeting here and second town meeting ever, anywhere.
welcome.
Thank you. I'm really thankful I found such a great community, and I really look forward to getting a little bit more involved. And just thank you guys really for everything you do, and kind of, I feel very welcomed into the town and community. And that's.
Can you tell us who you are and where
Oh,
you live?
yeah, sure, that would be nice. My name is Sarah Ford, so I moved up from the city. I was there for about 4.5 years, and I'm originally from Ohio, so
Oh, well,
I kind of made my way here, and my husband and I were about to move to Depot Hill, so we're definitely going to be like now long-term residents in the area, so.
super.
So, and do you have children?
No children, at least not yet, so.
But you can still come to the Easter egg hunt.
Actually, I'm really interested in helping with that. That would
We're
be
always
amazing,
looking for
so-
volunteers.
Yes, I've gotten that.
Please
window.
do, please do.
So, yeah, I would love to help
And you
out
get
with
to
that.
see everybody and everything, and, you have a good time.
I think that would be lovely, so,
Yes.
yeah, I've already kind of made a mental note. And,
Excellent.
and I, there was no real public comment. I didn't say anything before. I think I was the only public, member here, but about the whole appointed assessor versus elected assessor, I think that was a really tricky position for you guys to be in. And I know in November, when we voted on it, my feeling then was, of course we should always elect these people, but then I realized when I came that actually it's a much trickier process, and if there's nobody here that can actually run for that position, then what other choice did you have? And the 3-month, I think it was a 3-month limit, so.
It's complicated.
Yeah, it was definitely complicated, so.
And we have to have have an assessor and continuity in the office. That's exactly the
And
issue that
qualified,
we're-
too.
Yeah, my husband and I were talking about it as well, and realized if there are grievances, how would you go about it? If it's somebody that's every 3 months, it would
Right.
be really, really tricky thing to navigate, and
Right.
so, well done in a kind of tricky situation, so.
Everybody needs to know that their taxes are under control and in a consistent manner. There are no big surprises or changes or anything. I think it's such a vital, important office that shouldn't be left to
Chance.
hope in a prayer, and
Yeah,
maybe we'll have somebody in there, who has training or not. So it's an important issue. Thank you
Yeah,
for bringing it up.
absolutely. So,
Yeah, we were fortunate enough for someone with 29 years' experience stepped forward and took,
which is
Was
took o-
ready to roll.
Was ready to roll
Right,
and
that
took
doesn't
over.
happen just by accident. We were very fortunate this time.
And I know he's been working away, because I saw him
Oh,
Tuesday,
yeah.
and he said that he's got like 15 more parcels or something that he has to do, because the state said these things haven't been done or updated or what have you. So he's been working away to meet their requests. These
wow,
things need to be done in the town, so I'm greatly impressed by him. I like him very much. I think he's a good choice.
well, that's good, I'm glad.
Yeah, it's a big issue. Thank you for bringing it up.
Thank you guys for...
Yes, and come again.
And there are volunteer sheets on your way
She
out.
already has.
I have one at home.
I already last time.
But thank you guys very much. so.
Thank you.
And I look forward to seeing you many more times.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Did you want to do executive session, Scott?
Yeah, if we could.
And we need to give Dawn a reason, just,
It's Public Officers Law 105 1F regarding a personnel matter.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn to executive session.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
no, the town clerk is,
Go ahead, I'm not going to stop you.
is excused.
Oh,